Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and today I'll be teaching you guys how to lock down healers as a rogue. This works for every spec of rogue, subtlety, assassination, and of course combat. So, as I'm playing 3's arenas right now, currently not a high rating, I did learn how to lock down a healer fully. I remember back in 6.1 at one point you could lock down a healer for full 12 seconds as a combat rogue, which was insane, but this way we were able to put out a lot of pressure using shadow reflection. This method kind of works against the meta, which is perfect, because the meta right now is about TSG style comps and turbo cleaves with heavy reliance on a paladin healer. Right now paladins are probably some of the best healers in the game, and this method actually forces paladins to play defensively. It's a very easy and simple method to execute and definitely works better in 3's than it does in 2v2's when it comes to shadow reflection. So far from playing arenas, which is not a lot of them, but this method seems pretty reliable and I want to really execute it at higher rated ladders to see if it works. But this is something for you guys as you are climbing arenas yourselves. This is something to help you gain advantage within the insane arena season that we'll be having in Season 2 of Warlords of Draenor with everybody trying to climb rating, and this should give you an upper hand as a rogue. So let me go over exactly what you're supposed to do in order to execute this. So I'm going to slow down today's footage and tell you guys exactly what I do, and I'll explain the reason why it's so effective. So this method is really simple. It has to work with shadow reflection. Again, works for all 3 specs of rogue. Shadow reflection, garrote your target, and give it like a second or two of garrote ticks, mark for death, kidney shot your target. This way you're going to get a back-to-back silence, stun from your shadow reflection, completely locking down the healer. The healer can trinket in between, but it's going to be much more difficult once they're completely locked out, knowing that they cannot trinket right now, because they'll be interrupted early on. If you want to, you can kind of BM it and throw gouge in the middle of there, because then your shadow reflection will gouge afterwards, which can really mess up healers if they have something like, free cast available and they're trying to cast a spell and the gouge just interrupts them. That can definitely be applied within certain situations, but it's not a guarantee to be added in. I definitely wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, shadow reflection, what you're going to get out of that using this method is you'll garrote your target for a second and a half, unless you get the glyph for it, then full 6-second stun, then into a silence, then into a half stun. So it's very effective in order to get the early pressure on in the game, to really put your opponent on the back foot, force them to trinket, force them to use defensive abilities, and especially paladins who have bubbles, it forces them to play out all of their defenses, putting you ahead in advantage. This is especially effective since nobody really has their gear. After everybody gains their arena gear, there'll be a lot more damage coming out of the game, a lot more healing, and the metagame will definitely change. But currently right now, with simply on opponent's gear, you can really put the opposite team on the back foot if you're able to open up with this method. And in 3's arenas, you would really just want some extra damage supplemented from your teammates, but all you're trying to do is line up the CC pressure. This CC pressure is, again, very effective with the opener, especially if the targets are forcing defensives and trinkets, and you can apply this pressure in more than one way. Like as a combat rogue, I can apply Adrenaline Rush as well whenever I'm bursting down onto my opponent, right? To get extra bit of pressure off of my enemy. That is something you can do if you are going for it. But you don't really have to, since you are forcing defensives and trinkets early on because of this complete lockdown method. This method I've seen to be very effective. It works really well on monks, priests, druids, especially shamans if they're able to be locked down and if they just don't get a moment to throw down a spirit link totem, they are dead in a single one shot. If they trinket the wrong item, if they trinket the wrong ability, if they don't get any defensives or CC peel from their friendlies. For paladins, I feel like paladins are probably the strongest ones against this method. They're probably the ones that are going to survive this more than anybody. But it still does put a paladin to play defensive, which can give you some cross CC and some serious pressure because paladins are probably the best healers currently right now, with everybody not having full conquest gear at the moment. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully this method has helped some of you. You definitely should try it in arenas, maybe even skirmishes. Try it out for yourself and you will just see just how much pressure and control you can attain as a rogue, whatever spec you may be. This isn't exactly the 12 back-to-back stun from combat rogues back from 6.1 way early into the season, but this is just as effective and can definitely give you an upper advantage. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. My name is Dalaran. Let me know what you think of this lockdown healer method, and I'll see you guys in the next video.